Hey, what's up guys? Alex here with a new video, and today we finally got my hands on the brand new Sigma BF. Now, I've actually had it for about 2 weeks. I actually have to send the camera back tomorrow, and I'm pretty bummed about that. For today, we will be doing my first impressions on this camera because 2 weeks is not enough for a review, and hopefully I'm able to share a few nuggets of information that maybe other reviewers haven't. But with that said, I have a lot to talk about, so let's kick things off. As you can see, I have the camera here in front of me, and I have it in the gorgeous silver. And if you're familiar with the channel, I'm a sucker for a silver camera, so I think this is just stunning. I love the way this looks. I love the way it feels. And everything about this camera just feels premium. Even the freaking lens cap. Like, let me show you, this is the best lens, or actually body cap, not a lens cap. This is the best feeling body cap I have ever felt in a camera. It's got like knurling in the sides, and it is just a solid piece of aluminum. And yes, we're talking about a camera body cap right now because this is awesome. But the camera it's the real deal. It's made of a solid piece of aluminum, and there is no plastics. Like, this camera is sharp in the top, so it can actually be used as a weapon, I believe, because the top parts here are very sharp. The bottom parts of the camera are more rounded, so it's a little bit softer to feel and touch and grip. But this camera, it's a little heavy. When it's cold outside, the camera will be cold. If it's hot outside, the camera will get hot. It's a metal camera. And the camera is also pretty compact. So as you can see here, without a lens, it's a very small camera, which means it has no grip. So for someone like me who's 6'4" and larger hands, you can see that gripping this camera is like squeezing a toy almost, and that is not comfortable. So we'll actually get to that later. For the most part though, I've been using this camera with this new wrist strap from Owl Crown. So Owl Crown is a new camera accessory company, and right now they're making camera straps, and they're making my favorite camera straps. They actually designed custom wrist straps for the Sigma BF, and they hooked me up with one. So here I have the gray custom Sigma BF wrist strap, and without a wrist strap, this camera would be a little scary because there's no grip, so I'd be scared to drop it, but using it with this wrist strap has been awesome. And if you want to learn more about Owl Crown, I will link them down below. They're making some really cool products. But back to the camera. The design, it's not for everybody. Either you're gonna hate it, you're gonna love it. I personally like it a lot. Along with the new design, there's a new menu system. So this camera has what, 4 buttons. So brand new menu system. And the menu system is also very unique. I think the menu system itself has 1 page. Now, before using this camera, the reason why I love using Leica is their menu system and their interface is simple to use and understand. This camera takes that to a whole nother level. It is incredibly minimal, but everything just makes sense and everything just works. So it's been a joy from that perspective. It does have a 24 megapixel sensor, and I think it's the same sensor as the Panasonic S9, S5 IIX, and maybe even the Leica SL3. So it's a great sensor, great dynamic range, great in low light. I will say, one thing that a lot of people don't talk about, or at least I haven't seen from this sensor, is how good the colors are. The DNG files coming out of this camera are very punchy, and I feel like I'm getting some incredible colors out of this camera. And I felt the same way when I used the Panasonic S5 II last year. Just the colors coming out of that sensor were actually pretty mind-blowing to me. And even though it's 24 megapixels, it feels like this sensor just resolves more detail. All the images I captured, they just felt like they had more resolution than 24 megapixels. But outside of that, there's actually something that's different about this camera, and I'm not sure I've seen anybody talk about it, but this camera uses an electronic shutter. Now, that's not any different. The Panasonic S9 actually does that too. But this camera has a base ISO of 320. Yeah, you heard that correct, 320. When I first got the camera, I couldn't understand why I was defaulting to that, and I had to actually do some research because I hadn't seen anybody talk about it. But yeah, so I'm not sure it's because of the electronic shutter, and you can actually expand the ISO to 100 or even 50, but that's an expanded ISO, which means if you want the best dynamic range, you want to shoot at the base ISO, and that's 320. Now, that might not be a big deal because with the electronic shutter, you can go way above 1/8,000 of a second, so it doesn't really matter. And I mean, I didn't really see any added noise to my files. Like the files looked great. I didn't see any noise, nothing to really complain about. One thing I was scared of with this camera and the electronic shutter was its readout speed. Was it going to be fast enough to capture moving subjects? I actually took this camera out to the theme parks this past weekend, and I decided to just take some pictures of quick moving subjects and whipping the camera around as well. And I found 0 issues. So this sensor readout on this camera is pretty fast, and I didn't see any issues. Now, I'm not sure this camera is meant for sports, but I think for fast moving subjects, this electronic shutter is fine. Like I didn't see any issues at all. So I've actually mentioned a lot of good things. Is there any bad thing about this camera? Yeah, there is. So battery life. The battery life on this camera is horrible. It is bad. I think I took 250 shots on Saturday. I had used the camera for about an hour and a half maybe, and I was already down to 50%. Like the battery just drains so fast, but it makes sense because the actual battery on this camera, if I show it to you, it is extremely small. This is a very small battery, so it makes sense, I guess, why it drains so fast. But if you want to do street photography with this camera, I would recommend at least having 2 batteries, maybe even 3, because the battery life is not great. Outside of the battery life, I mean, the autofocus actually also surprised me. I was expecting good autofocus, but I would actually say this autofocus is on par with most modern cameras. The only time the autofocus missed, I actually was taking a picture of a gentleman in Domino Park here in Miami, and he was wearing a hat. And with the hat, the camera just kind of focused on the hat instead of the eye, and the face was a little dark because I was underexposing, and the camera missed focus there. Outside of that, this camera pretty much nailed focus every single time, and it surprised me because I wasn't expecting it. I had never used a Sigma camera before, and obviously my experience with L-mount has primarily been with Leica, which has improved their autofocus, but it's not necessarily a Sony or Canon. But this camera was actually really responsive, really accurate, and was impressed by the autofocus. Overall, like, I really enjoyed my 2 weeks with this camera. I love the design, and when you have a camera that has a good design that you connect with, it inspires you to use it and to shoot it. And to me, having this camera around my shoulder, in my hand, just because it looks so freaking different and modern and new, I just wanted to take it with me everywhere. And my biggest complaint right now with this camera is going to be the ergonomics. And I think once this camera hits the market and companies can make and produce camera grips for this camera, it will really complete this package. And I'll say this, I have a camera grip for my Leica Q3, I had a grip for my Nikon ZF, I actually even have a grip for my Sony A7R5. So I usually buy grips for all my cameras because I have larger hands, and this will be no different. I think the cool thing is I got a sneak peek over at Owl Crown headquarters here in Miami, and they're actually designing a grip that looks straight, it looks like Sigma made it. It's like an OEM type grip made of aluminum. I can't wait for you guys to see. As a matter of fact, I'm going to stop talking there because I've seen it. If you go to Owl Crown's social media, there's previews of it. Once that grip is out, I think this camera will truly be a complete setup because you will essentially have something to hold on to while using it, and you have all the benefits of the new menu and just a cool design. Is a camera worth $2,000, and is it for you? Well, that is for you to decide. Just like every freaking camera out right now, I think every camera in the last 5 years, if you can't produce a good image with it, like it's not the camera, it's you. You have to really now pick a camera that you connect with, you resonate with, that wants to inspire you to shoot. That will be different for everybody. So for some people, that will be a $500 camera. For some people, it will be a $1,000 camera. For some people, it will be the Sigma BF. For some people, it will be a Leica SL3S. I think price point is truly subjective to the person, what they're looking for. And we shouldn't really judge products based on the price point and more on the merits of, is it something that inspires you, something that drives you to it? And you get the point, right? So you know if this camera is for you, you know if this camera is interesting to you because you're watching this video. Anyways, guys, Hopefully you liked the video. Also, hopefully you like the pictures I showcased throughout the video. And hopefully you also see how punchy and vibrant the colors coming out of the sensor were, because I think it's one of the better sensors out there as far as color science goes, because they are just nice and crispy. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. And as always, I will see you on the next one. Have a good one, guys. Peace.